This week on Hallway Sports Network's Off the Track, we'll be speaking with Donna the Hot Flash K, CEO and founder of One World Roller Derby. Welcome back to Hallway Sports Network's Off the Track with yours truly, Tony Hall. I'm speaking with Donna the Hot Flash K out of Seattle, who is the CEO and founder of One World Roller Derby. Now you're in Texas this time for any particular reason you come to visit us?
Yes, I came down thanks to Norma Dolan in Webster, Texas, and Angel Seraphim Sellers in Johnson County, and also to do the mashup that's on Saturday, which I didn't know about when I planned on coming, but mainly to see them.
Okay, yeah. So I heard you're going to be skating in the mashup too.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
Now maybe not a lot of people know about Donna. Now, what is exactly your past per se as far as roller derby?
Well, I started roller derby. I don't exactly know. I go by the age. I started roller derby at age 48 with Rat City Roller Girls. They were in their second-ish season. Yeah. And at that point in time, I did it because I wanted to do something cool with my daughter. And that's exactly what I got out of it. She was on a team, Miss Fortune, and I wanted to be Mrs. Fortune, but they said no. So I got the Hot Flash, which actually I'm really happy about. So I skated with them. I also had a small child and a marriage that was sort of going in a difficult direction. Yeah. So going to practices was always very stressful. And when there were a week prior to the game, the setting up, the tearing down, or the bout, so it was, in one sense, incredibly empowering just to get to try it. I was new. I was not a good skater. I was just like, I had a lot of enthusiasm, but I hadn't had time to work up the skills. So my brother passed away, and that was in the second season towards the end, and suddenly at a young age. And at that point in time, I said I was going to take some time off, and so I took a little bit of time off, then decided I would retire. Okay. I didn't know that I'd go back to skating on another league at age 52. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, I know from reading through the boards and everything like that, you're also let's say a breast cancer survivor or struggling with, yeah?
I'm a survivor, and I think that's going to be the case until it isn't. Or I get in a motorcycle wreck or whatever. We don't get to choose how or when, so no sense worrying about it. Yeah, so I have fun with my giant prosthetics, or not, or one boob patch, eye patch, cut up all my bikinis and matching.
Yeah. Well, so how was it like going through that, and was that in the middle of playing derby and stuff?
What the progression was, so after my brother passed away, there was more. I lost my mom, my dad, went through a divorce, all this stuff going on, and I started skating with a wonderful league called Tilted Thunder Railbirds. Oh, okay. And at that point in time, it kept me tethered, and it amazed me that I could get stronger, and it amazed me that I could improve my skills, and it just blew my mind, and I was also very struck at how the world of derby is kind of exclusive.
Yeah,
And I kept wondering why we weren't training people. So when I went through this, I had already started One World. I started my own.
Yeah, that was kind of the question we're going to be leading to. It's like after all of this, why get into starting your own organization?
Right.
Like,
So it was. I did that first, and I had done that for a couple of years. Of like I think of it in terms of pushing a boulder up a hill, because I wanted to do something different. In an area that's very derby, very derby, and I wanted to do this other thing, and so before the breast cancer hit, I had already been doing my own thing.
Right.
Yeah. So it was not exactly like skating on a league, because I was doing so much more. I was skating because I wanted to get some in my small window of however long, due to my age, and so I thought, I did it. And then the day I got diagnosed with breast cancer, a bird shit on my lip on my motorcycle, and I pulled over laughing hysterically, and I thought, just bring it. This is all you got. Just bring it.
What's been the reaction per se from the derby world? Hearing about One World and stuff.
Well, it's really interesting because I think in Seattle, the people I skated with and loved at Rat City, they didn't know me as a skater that was a very strong skater. And I don't really know what people thought of me, because because I reached out to people saying, hey, I'm doing this really cool thing, and I was like, yeah, good. And I would hear things that I heard that people thought, but I never paid attention, because I don't really know. I think it's an individual perception, and this whole experience with One World has been an incredible lesson in perception. And what's real and isn't. And so the rest of the derby world outside of Seattle reacts to me much differently than my very own town. So
they always say you don't have as much respect at home as you do outside of home. So what actually differentiates One World from, like, say, WFDA and some of the other forms that are...
When I started my own thing, my motto was skills before drills, because I always saw people getting turned away from leagues, and I kept thinking, this saved my life. This kept me here when the world was awful. And how are we, one committee, to tell one person, no, you can't do this? It just and so I wanted to do something that wasn't WFDA. I wanted to do something, it was skills before drills. It's like, oh my God, I figured out how to shift my weight, and I figured out how to transition quickly and run back to the pack. And at that point in time, I had lost several years of youth, and so I didn't have the endurance that I would have had back when I started, had I had the opportunity to spend more time on skates, spend more time working on skills. So I started getting it into the parks, and I started writing proposals, and I started teaching a derby class at a community college, and getting it into park departments. And so that was different. I also went into it starting a league, like the Seattle League. But my idea was, don't make them work on committees, that they show up and they skate. But I was really naive when I did that, because it's been a nightmare, really. It was a nightmare, the administration of it all. And and investing my own everything I had. And
Right.
it was right before the breast cancer. It started to come back a little bit, and that was when I did it. And so I have really accepted now that what I'm doing, I may or may not ever get that investment returned, but I have made a difference for some people, and I have like planted a seed in a few places. People like, I want to get into my parks. And so when I started One World, the bigger picture than just Seattle, it was about sharing my resources. It's like, you want to start a league? Here's my policy and procedure. Take out my name, put in yours. You want a proposal to get into your parks? Here, use mine. Take out my demographics, put in yours. And so I decided just to share everything I had ever worked and created with other people, just to help them get started. And that's really, truly been what I've been up to. And the perception, I think, is a lot different from what it really is.
So you think they were probably looking at it as sort of like continuing to keep Derby an exclusive group, as opposed to opening it up to just anybody coming off the streets can play Derby kind of thing?
Well, in theory, I think everyone really loves the idea. My idea is beginners come, they're here. They learn how to skate. And once they pass their minimum skills, they get to be on a team, and they get to scrimmage, and they get their 15 minutes of fame, or they use that as a segue into being more competitive. So I thought, okay, intermediates, they get to skate, and once they're able to really have awareness of behind them, jump through holes, then they get to be on a competitive roster. But I was just getting to the point where I had advanced skaters, like taking the whole group up when the breast cancer hit, and then things kind of started to fall apart on a local level. Just in terms of the enthusiasm that I brought and the consistency of the mission.
Because I guess it all turned into like One World Derby was Donna Hot Flash K, and if she was out of it, then it could kind of...
sort of, but on the other hand, I think people liked the experience of having other coaches, so once people got advanced, they got real excited to have woofed coaches come in, or other well-known Derby coaches to come in, and other people. So I heard everyone has their own opinion of what things are. So I heard a lot of different what people wanted. But I think overall, people really like the idea of the vision, and my vision is just to have it be a mainstream sport that anyone gets to do. And not only for the beginners to get experience, but even more than that, it's to let the athletes skate with athletes. Like I see a lot of Derby as social skating. Social skating, and which is fine. Some people are there to make friends, or to connect, or to get out of their house, or to get exercise, or to be an athlete. And so there's all these different agendas in one league, and that's what I think is the basis of Derby drama. So my idea was, okay, you athletes, you're there. You have to work really hard to do that, so don't resent them, and you help them out. And trying to build this structure that would really take years and years and years to have it be big enough to actually do it that way. I kind of got it started, but didn't have the capability to completely implement the program I saw, because I never had funding either. And so
so you see some of the advanced skaters coming back and being mentors for some of the beginners?
For sure. And so now what's really great is I've just gotten One World starting in 2014. The administration is taken over by the city of Seattle. And so all I have to do is show up and coach, or get someone else to coach. And so some of my other skaters are coaching now, and they're fantastic. And these are the people that really want to pay it forward and really like having show up and skate. And so I'm going to, once this program grows with the city, if it does, I hope it does.
Yeah.
The idea is then to have weekly games, and we don't call them bouts in USARS,
Okay.
where people show up, $5 a head for spectators and skaters. We choose the teams when they're there, everybody skates, and then when it grows, then separate, okay, this is first 15 minutes is intermediate skaters, then competitive teams here. And I don't have to deal with the administration, which really is fantastic because it'll free me up to go back to work.
Right. Back to your first love was just the skating, right?
Well, no, back to work with a real job.
Oh, okay. That too.
I've accepted that this is not going to monetize quickly enough, or maybe never, to work for me personally. And so that happening frees me up to actually go back to work. And then I'll still do this, always do this. I'm really honored to be able to do this and to participate in. I was invited to the board of directors for USA Roller Sports, representing the Derby Committee. And I haven't yet had a chance to make a difference there, but I'm really humbled and grateful for the opportunity. So I'm really hoping that I can dig in there, and it all plays into my vision of mainstreaming the sport. And the way traditional derby is set up, there was no Little League. There was, this isn't something we grew up with. And I did this survey and got about 125 responses back from skaters all over the world, where I did a modified Rosenberg self-esteem scale and an exercise attitude questionnaire, and it was modified for derby, and fascinating to me how people impact each other. And like 40% of that survey, so 40% of the people had never been in a sport before. And so of course they don't know. You're not necessarily a starter. That's how sports work. You have to be on this roster, on this team, you've got to work your ass off. And there's also a flaw in the way things are set up, mainly because in that situation where people are fighting for one roster on a team, it's a threat to have your peer surpass you in skill level. And so my thinking, and a lot of people's thinking of a team is only as strong as its weakest skater, it's impossible to have that fully as a perspective when that skater threatens your spot on the roster. So I think too, create as many teams as you need. And it's difficult. It's not an easy process. There's no right way. And every league I've ever met, every skater I've ever met, wonderful people, just really great people. And I don't think of what I'm doing as anything better at all. I think of it as just something different and a way to open doors for more people to come in, not just beginners, but the rest of the world, where maybe there's an athlete who is going to be such a strong athlete, they just like zip right through the social part and up to the athlete part. And so if it's opened up to the rest of the world, not just the derby community, it's going to bring more people into the derby community. And that's really more my mission, to provide a place for people to learn, improve their skills, and have a place for athletes to leave that group and skate with other athletes.
Okay, so just sort of like make it a little bit more accessible to more people coming in, and then just and also provide what you said was like a farming system for better.
And just have it as black and white as possible. If you can do this, you're there. If you can do that, that, and that, well, you get to be here. And if you try out, you either make it or you don't. That's how sports work. And in that process, it's really difficult because a lot of people get hurt. And there is no way to prevent that.
It is a contact sport.
I don't mean hurt, but butthurt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the competitive piece. So everyone has a different reason for doing that, and so I guess I just see a need for people to find that group of what they want and be with that group, whatever that is.
Okay. Any words as far as the upcoming Olympics bid for Derby? Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen with our juniors. I'm sure it'll happen with our juniors, and I'm excited because the sport is going in that direction. I see it as this tidal wave, and a lot of people that have worked hard to bring it around now don't want it to change, but I don't think anyone can stop it from changing. It's too extraordinary. It's too extraordinary of a sport. It's an incredible sport.
Yeah, and now you see at this point with this resurgence, do you see it going on as far as beyond that? Because I know we're getting to a point where we're about to have a generational shift.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
People are getting to the point where they're retiring from skating, and new faces are coming in that are just way more athletic than some of the previous ones.
These juniors, once they come in, they're already in and just skating circles around the adults.
Yeah.
And what's cool too is I started 3 years ago, I started a Derby Over 40 Facebook group, and now there are about 3,000 people in there. And I sell these Derby Over 40 shirts to people all over the world. And so there's Derby Over 40, Derby Over 50, and all these people are like, I'm in this group now, I'm 40. Whereas when I started at 48, that was really weird.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my God, she's old. And really then starting again at 52 and getting stronger, and then at 54 starting my own league. Back when I retired originally, I had no idea I would ever do this. But it just sort of happened. It just sort of...
Yeah, you just can't get away from it once you're in the Derby world. Huh?
It saved me.
Yeah.
Really, and it's a very simple, it's a very simple thing that's viewed as more complicated than it needs to be. It saved me. I want to make it accessible, give it back, and I see it as giving some people the gift of learning Derby, and that's really all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, I tend to see that with any of the skaters I've interviewed over the couple of years here that I've been doing this, that a lot of it is Derby is kind of, not a lot of people who went through as athletes through schooling and stuff like that, but when they found Derby, it just sort of
it's a tight community. It's a great community. A lot of sisterhood, a lot of brotherhood, a lot of people supporting each other, and of course you're going to get some people that are rough around the edges, don't have a lot of social skills, never belonged in a sport, never belonged in a group, never felt like they belonged, and here they are, and with all these different kinds of people having to, and so there's a lot of Derby drama everywhere, and there's just no avoiding that. It's such a new sport, and again, I think it all comes down to differing agendas, but I do think it's the community of it supersedes anything negative, because that's just it doesn't matter, but the Derby community is extraordinary.
Okay. Now as far as any skaters out there, or people just tuning in to just see something different, what would you say to those that may be on the fence about maybe joining a league or something?
Learn to skate. Take a skating class, because this is and what Norma and the other One Worlds are about. It's skills before drills. People shouldn't go out and sink or swim. That's how people get broken.
Right.
I don't think anyone should be out scrimmaging until they can shift their weight, look behind them while they're skating, transition at high speed and to skating backwards. Learn to skate. And once you can skate on one foot or the other, you can do anything. Then try out for a Derby league, or start your own, and I'll give you everything I have. That's
one thing. How does a league join One World Roller Derby?
Just email me. That's about it. I'll give you a logo. We have it's basically just a licensing and branding they sign a thing saying, I promise not to be a jerk, and my coach won't be a jerk. Any coaches, will be
Yeah.
respectful and athletic and all this. And then I just let them use my logo, and it's just a suggested donation of $100 a year or whatever, and it's not required.
Yeah.
It's really just to help people get exposure, get the resources, hook into something that can help them get started. And so we've got this little core of people here that really want to help this grow, help other people get started.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just right now in the beginning phases of One World, as far as
it hasn't even started yet. Yeah.
Okay.
And so and maybe it'll shift over into being something that USARS brings, not One World, but those resources. And I think, it could completely just have planted a seed of how to get things going, or it will grow. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's got its own momentum, and it's going to do what it does. But it does open doors.
Okay. Well, as long as we're out there right now, we'll just ride the wave and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was good talking with you, and
You too.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing what happens with One World as we go along.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.